Hello and good day. My name is Jon Roy. I work as the head provincial coach here in Ontario, and in that capacity, I am fortunate enough to work with a lot of very, very strong players. And maybe you can relate as an aspiring competitive player. What I'd like to talk about today is less to do with the competency of chipping, rather the confidence related to chipping. So we'll take an assumption here that most of us have the skill with which is necessary to chip properly, and then from there I'd like to take this chipping skill to another level. And so if you can bear with me, what I'd like to introduce you to today is two skills that I think will really benefit strong chipping play. Firstly, I think we will be much better chippers if we use our imagination. Secondly, I believe we'll be much better chippers if we learn to trust the stroke, trust the hit. And so one of the great barriers for proper chipping is a lack of trust surrounding the short game. What you'll see very, very commonly is people who change targets mid-stroke. For instance, their eyes will be on the target up at the hole, they'll be totally engaged with the target, but if I were to ask them where their target is now, they'll have changed to the ball. They're genuinely afraid of missing the contact of the ball. But one of the great luxuries we have in golf, unlike most sports, is that the ball is not moving. It will be very, very simple if we can only trust the fact that we are going to get a solid contact. Then we have the luxury to move our attention to the external world, and that's really where the magic of short game lives. And so I'm going to show you a few exercises today that will help you to bring your imagination and your focus to a more external place, in this case, the target. So for starters, what I'd like to encourage you to do when you're practicing your chipping, and even when you're chipping on the golf course, would be to take some extra time just to imagine the shot happening. And this typically will take place here. If you watch golf on TV, you'll see a lot of people spending a lot of time in this area here, kind of straddling the line of their ball and observing externally what they're intending to do. Just taking a few extra seconds like this will make remarkable changes in your chipping game. The next layer, though, is that when we finally get to approaching the golf ball, we need to find a way to trust the hit. And this doesn't come quickly. This is something that we can practice. A couple of ways to practice this exercise. Firstly, what I would encourage you to do is that when you are chipping, just keep your eyes externally the whole time and just chip balls with your eyes on the hole. With each repetition, you're building trust that you don't need to control the hitting motion anymore. It's a simple stroke. Engage the target, keep your eyes on the target, and make your chip. A second exercise you can do to increase your trust, and again, by doing this, really what we're trying to bring is our focus away from the contact of the ball and now to the target. And so another way to do this is to literally hit the shots with your eyes closed. And so in this case, again, I'm doing the same exercise here. I'm setting up for my chip shot. I'm very much engaged with my target. My imagination has done its work. And then I'll just close my eyes and return the club to the ball. And again, with each repetition like this, it becomes easier and easier when our eyes return to the golf ball. Again, taking time to picture my line, I close my eyes, and from this space, I have to just trust the stroke. And now, the third exercise, the third way to do this, and this kind of brings these pieces together and might be a little bit more of a practical way of chipping. I don't encourage anyone to go out on the golf course necessarily and chip with their eyes on the hole or chip with their eyes closed, unless it works. But if you wanted to bridge the gap between those spaces, a very common practice these days is to focus a spot in front of the golf ball, somewhere on your line towards the hole. This is not necessarily because you're going to start the ball over that spot. Rather, it just distracts your eyes from obsessing about the collision. And so a simple exercise here, you'll have to take my word about where my focus is. My eyes are on the hole, imagining the target. I return my eyes, but this time not to the ball, but rather to a spot in front of the ball. And now I'm in a much more liberated place from which I can hit with freedom. No longer trying to control the collision, which again can be a great barrier to proper short game shots. Eyes on the target. When they return, I'm in front of the ball now with my focus, and I'm free now to trust the stroke. I sincerely hope that you'll gather something from this exercise. I think you'll, number one, increase your enjoyment of the short game simply by practicing in more creative ways. But most importantly, I really believe that you can reach a new level of experience in the short game if you can just bring your focus to a more external place and stop worrying so much about the collision with the ball. Have a nice day.